Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, in true me fashion, I am drinking and making cookies. So, the doctor Joey works for gave him this bottle of red wine, Cabernet Sauvignon. It's a 2015. Joey used it the other night to make a pot roast, so there was maybe like this much in the bottle. And now it's down to like about half, and as you can see, I poured a tall glass. I only had a sip so far, so that's pretty much where it was. And then, since I didn't get to make my cutout sugar cookies for Halloween, I took out my cookie cutter set, and I have my recipe from All Recipes that I love for sugar cookies. So this makes 30 cookies. The original recipe was for like 60 cookies, so I love this new feature they have where you can adjust the recipe. Some of the servings come out like kind of weird depending on like how many you select, but this serving is pretty good. Like, it's nothing crazy. Like, I've seen it call for like 2 1/4 eggs. Like, it's just weird, but I guess since it's like an even number and it's just like half the recipe, it's pretty simple. So pretty simple. I wanted to actually make these yesterday, which was Monday, but I just had like too much to do and I just didn't get around to it, and I didn't really like feel like drinking, which is kind of weird. But today I'm like, you know what, F it. I have work tomorrow and the rest of the week, so I might as well enjoy it today and just drink and enjoy myself. So let's get started. I've only had like 2 sips of wine and I'm already feeling it. So we need 3 1/4 cup of butter softened. So that is 1 1/2 sticks. I had to look that up because I was like very confused, because, and I should have figured it. I'm not even drunk yet and like I'm having a hard time. So 1 stick is 1/2 cup. So if you need 3/4 of the cup, obviously that's 1 1/2 sticks. But me like just not doing well over here. So we have 1 stick that we are going to put in this bowl, and then I'm gonna take the other stick, cut it in half, and then put it in the microwave for about like probably 30 seconds just to get it soft. And then we are going to cream together the butter and the sugar, and for 30 cookies you need 1 cup of white sugar. Alright, so that is the butter and sugar creamed together until smooth. So now we are going to add 2 eggs and a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. So obviously we are mixing together all our wet ingredients here first, and then we will add all of our dry ingredients next. Adding my 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. So now we are going to be mixing in our dry ingredients. So we are doing 1/2 teaspoon of salt right in there. Then we are doing 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And let's turn that on and let that mix for a few seconds. Now also, don't forget, I'm not really showing you guys on camera, but in between everything, don't forget to scrape down your bowl, make sure everything is getting incorporated evenly. I feel like that's a really important step that some people don't really think about, and then their batter becomes lumpy or just not great because they're not scraping down the bowl and making sure all the ingredients are really getting incorporated. So just make sure you guys are doing that. Now we are adding 2 1/2 cups of flour, and then we are going to mix that all together, and that's it. It's a really simple recipe, and They are like the best sugar cookies, especially to roll out and get into all those fun shapes that you want. I'm gonna be using this same recipe again in about a month to do my Christmas cookies, and I'm gonna cut those out as well. So we're just gonna let it mix, and then I will show you guys how it looks when it is done. Okay, so here is the finished cookie dough pretty much. I'm just gonna scrape down the bowl here one last time and let it go for like a few seconds more, just making sure all the ingredients are incorporated. And the recipe says to like let it chill for an hour, but I have done that and I don't know, it's like, for me it's just like harder to roll out, and even though it is kind of sticky, like rolling it out right now, because it is like, you know, just freshly made, I find that it just rolls out a lot easier. Just use a little bit of flour and you will be fine. You can roll it out, cut out your shapes, and bake the cookies. Okay, so here's my workstation. I have my mat rolled out, my rolling pin ready, some more flour in there because I'm probably going to need some for the top of the dough. And right now I'm going to pour it out onto the mat. So here is all my dough rolled out, as you just saw me do. And I did have a small taste of the dough. I don't know what's going on, but like, I ate lunch and everything before I started drinking because like I did have a bowl of cereal this morning, but that was like hours ago. And I was like feeling pretty hungry, so I was like, all right, let me not drink on an empty stomach because like that never ends well. And I don't know what's going on. I've only drank about like half the glass so far, like not even, maybe like just half, but I'm already like feeling it like a little bit. But I did have a little taste of the dough just to make sure that it was tasty, and it was. See, this is already like, it's a mess. This is already rolling out really beautifully. We're probably gonna have to roll it out a few times to get the most use out of it, but we will figure that out later. But I'm gonna roll them out like, maybe it'll be a little thicker because like, I don't know, some of the cookies are like kind of small, and like who wants like a thin, small cookie? Like what's the point at that point? Start cutting them out, see how thick they are, see if we like the thickness. I will let you know. Alright, I thought this was like a cute picture, so here are 15 of these shapes cut out. Okay, so here's the first batch. I'm schwitzing. If you don't know what schwitzing is, that's Yiddish for sweating. They look pretty good. I like the thickness of them. Now, they don't get much bigger or thicker than this. There is a little bit of baking powder in there, but I don't know. They pretty much remain at this size. Now, here's the remaining dough, and I lost these 3 while trying to get them out. As you can see, the mat got like very dry, like it just soaked up all that flour real quick. And the oven is on in here and it's very hot. I lowered the heat. It's just a mess. I finished my glass of wine and re-poured. So it's been a hot minute. Guys, so I doubled up on flour just all over the dough, and this batch turned out a lot better. They came up super easy. I didn't even need the bench scraper. And then I added these 4 right here to this tray. And I still have a good amount of dough. I could probably get like 5 to 10 cookies out of that. So I'm gonna put these guys in the oven since I rolled these out first. Now we've got the oven preheated to 400 degrees and it says bake 6 to 8 minutes. So I'm going to do 6, just being cautious, and They are thin. They're not super thin. I think they're like a pretty good thickness for like a cookie. So they might be done in 6. They might need those couple extra minutes, so we will see you back in 6 minutes. Alright y'all, so some new developments in my baking adventures. So, first of all, poured my final glass of wine. Only my final glass because I finished the bottle, and I actually have 4 bottles of wine in my fridge, which is wild, but we're like hosting a pre-Thanksgiving thing with some of Joey's family this weekend, so I gotta save it for the weekend. Second of all, first batch is done. Now, I accidentally baked it on the top rack for the first 6 minutes. No wait, the first 8 minutes. Because I checked after 6 and I was like, these are still raw. So then I put them in for an additional 2 minutes and I was like, these are still raw. And then I'm like, oh my god, I put them on the top rack. Which normally you want to put things on like the lower rack. Like if there's 2 racks in your oven. Which I think is like the standard amount. There might be 3. But in mine, even like in New York, there were 2, and in this one there's 2. So I was like, shit, you're supposed to put them on the lower rack. So then I moved it to the lower rack, did it for another 2, and it was like starting to brown, but like not all the cookies were. So then I did it for another 2. So I ended up having to bake these guys for a total of 12 minutes, and as you can all see, they are all mostly like browned around the edges, which is what I want. Let's see. So yeah, the bottoms are definitely cooked, but like I think they're still going to be like soft in the middle, which is how I like them. So I have the second batch in right now, and I put them on the lower rack for 6 minutes. So we're gonna see how they look after that. And then I was able to get another 15 out of the remaining dough. I had to roll it out like a couple more times. So here's my first batch, here's my second batch, and here's my third batch. So the first part of this recipe says to combine 1 cup of confectioner sugar with 2 teaspoons of milk. Well, I know how much this recipe shrinks down, and this only covers 1 dozen cookies. So I tripled the recipe, so it should cover honestly like most of the cookies, but we'll see. So I combined 3 cups of confectioner sugar with 6 teaspoons of milk, and we have that mixing right now, and I'm going to scrape down the bowl, and then I'm going to add the almond extract and the honey, which I have set up right here. So I'm going to add, I'm probably still gonna do like a 1/4 teaspoon of the honey just to like be safe, and then it says a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. I tripled the recipe just to find out that the tripled recipe only iced 12 cookies. This is the mixing bowl where I mixed the icing, so it's like pretty much empty, as you can see. This is the piping bag that I used, which is pretty much empty. After trying to use these little plastic things, I got 3 of these on Amazon for like less than $10, and it was this with, I know it's in here somewhere, I just threw it out, a really fine tip. And I've tried to use it multiple times and it's never worked. So these are the 12 cookies I was able to ice, and it kind of looks like a mess because there's sprinkles everywhere, but I'm gonna take them off of this so it's like just the cookies by themselves. So I used this mix that I got at like AC Moore years ago, and that's empty now. And then I still have this one, which has 4 different like sprinkle mixes. Cookies. I really like how they came out. The icing was really good. I just wish I had like the correct tips, and I ended up doing 3 1/4 teaspoon additions of the corn of the honey because I didn't have corn syrup, and 2 1/4 teaspoon additions of the almond extract, and I think it had like an initial taste of like honey, followed very quickly by just like a confectioner's sugar taste. And that was just the icing by itself. I haven't tasted it with one of the cookies yet, but I'm going to do that and let you guys know how it tasted. So I just tasted one of the cookies with the icing and the sprinkles, and honestly it was really good. You couldn't even taste the honey at all, which thank God, because honestly I'm not like a huge honey fan. And the fact that with like just the icing I could taste like the honey at first, I wasn't like a huge fan of. But like with the cookie, it was just the just like the icing and the cookie was all you could taste. You didn't taste the honey. And then like the sprinkles gave it like a little crunch. So it was really good. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I'm happy that I was able to ice some of them and then put a little sprinkles on, just making them a little more festive. I hope you guys like this video. I will link the recipe for the sugar cookies and the icing down below if you guys want to test it out. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.